Okay. Show me.
Alright, fellas, I'm ready to fudge.
Oh my gosh!
That's not me, that's that cockroach Tony Montana!
We want the black people on the motherfucking wall of fame now!
Is that what you want?
I want you to be a hockey player! I am a hockey player!
Alright, I'm not a fucking athlete. This is my fucking way. This is how I win.
You go in pieces, asshole.
There Will Be Gems Movie Podcast. Your home for the most underrated and underappreciated films. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of There Will Be Gems Movie Podcast, the place where we're always giving you the shittiest, hottiest takes on movies you may or may not have heard of here in double digits now. Starting off, we got the man who prefers his movies to have an intermission. If there's any resemblance to a narrative, it's a no for him, dog, Ryan. Oh. We got the man who loves a classic Nicolas Cage meltdown, but hates Sean Connery. Don't leave your computer unoccupied. He'll change it to Fred Savage while you're taking a shit. Tom.
Hello.
That's pretty accurate.
All true.
It is.
We got the man who's seen Ghostbusters roughly 197 times and hates when movies do the talking. He's got a 6-shooter of movies that'll make you question his sexual preference. God.
Hi.
And finally, the man will hate your movie that ends happy. He says he loves world cinema, but probably just hates America and loves communism. Yours truly, Tyler. So how's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, just Andy.
I'm great, actually.
I'm Fred Savage.
So over or under, John, how many times do you think you've actually seen Ghostbusters?
Like counting as a child too?
Yeah, lifetime.
Fuck. Roughly like it's got to be in the 500s.
What?
Yeah, it's a lot. I used to watch that. I literally would come home from school and watch Ghostbusters 1 and 2 back to back. That was like my routine, and then I would watch cartoons and then play Super Nintendo.
Did you have a VHS of it that you slept with under your pillow?
I didn't sleep with it, but it was in my room at all times. All right. So I had the VHS of Ghostbusters 1, but I had Ghostbusters 2, which was recorded on TV, which had all the classic commercials.
The TV cut.
Yeah. And it had all the best commercials.
That would be wild to watch now.
It had that sweet like Campbell's soup commercial with like the snowman and he melts into the kid.
I remember that one.
He like drinks the soup and he's like a child. I'm like, what?
I remember like commercials on Nickelodeon when I was younger. You used to make the stupidest shit look so cool.
Yeah.
Like those Skechers sneakers that like they Velcro but with plastic and they made a fucking weird noise.
The click like yeah. Yeah, those are dope. I'm pretty sure that VHS also had the Paul Rudd Super Nintendo commercial on it.
I can't even remember that.
God.
That is a classic Nintendo commercial.
Oh, sounds like it.
Yeah, it's good.
I just like want to watch a highlight reel of like the best '90s commercials now.
I'd be down for that any day.
Yeah,
as long as it has to have Crossfire though. If it doesn't have Crossfire, I'm not watching it.
I was just thinking Crossfire of like things that I remember from '90s commercials.
You'll get caught up in the Crossfire.
How could you forget that commercial?
Yeah.
Crossfire,
iconic.
You get caught up in the.
I watched the movie last night that could not have been any more '90s. It was so bad, but just because it was so '90s.
Was it Clueless?
It was The Good Son.
Oh, that one, yeah.
The movie's terrible, but it's really '90s. Yeah, this movie's pretty '90s too.
Yeah, it's about the son being good.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like the '90s. I always like the '90s TVs that just like pop up and just like the '90s like bar aesthetic.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like how phones used to look too.
Yeah,
like cell phones or like
no,
like the dial phones.
Not specifically the dial ones, like the handheld ones that had the 9 keypad and like a square.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I remember those. Pretty sick aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
The junk aesthetic.
really long wire you can walk around the house with.
The pigtail wire.
Yep. That would always be tangled no matter what you did.
No matter what. Like, from day one, it's already fucked.
I remember my mom used to get so mad about that. Like, just like she would constantly buy new phone cords just because they kept getting tangled up.
I have a big problem with my phone cord getting tangled up at work. I'm constantly like trying to untangle it.
I gave up on that a long time ago. It used to bug me, but now I'm just like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, because they just get caught in the drawers anyway, so it doesn't matter what I do.
Well, like
I'll pull them out.
Yeah.
I'll go to like try to answer the phone and like I'll drop it because of the cord like that. I don't know why it caused it. So people all the time.
Why'd you oil up my phone again?
I think that's a you problem, Tyler.
Maybe
that's a dexterity issue. Not a cord issue.
Simply drop their phone.
Like, they'll just hear like my phone smash. Receiver. Hello.
I'd like to buy some stuff still.
You got some tiny hands. You gotta get them bigger hands.
You Tyler got bigger
hands.
You gotta get those Uncle Jack hands.
Uncle Shoes, Uncle Jack.
Oh my god. From Always Sunny.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Do you have an Uncle Jack that you got to tell a story about or something?
Got little hands.
Put your hands over my hands, just like that. We're lawyers.
Oh, when he like flings the hands off.
Yeah, he like screams.
Look at me! All right, let's get into the topic of the week. Ryan.
Topic of the week: best ensemble cast. You want to kick us off, John?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be the one that's just a cop out, and I'm gonna say Avengers Endgame because it literally has like everyone that you could think of in that movie. Most of them
have in that movie.
Well, let's see. You got Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans. I almost said Christopher Walken. It shows up.
I'm Captain America.
He's like, hey, I was stab you in the face with a solder iron. Yeah. So yeah, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Don Cheadle, Elizabeth Olsen, Robert Redford. Yeah, Robert Redford. Samuel Jackson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Paul Rudd. Michael Douglas, Evelyn Lilly. I can go down the list, but it'll take literally forever. But it has literally everyone.
Fishburne.
He's in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh,
yeah.
My movie also has Don Cheadle.
Renee Russo. Yeah, Renee Russo. She's in the movie. Yeah. You know, it has a main Avengers cast and it brings back a whole bunch of people, and it's literally like it's great. I love it.
For the folks at home, I've never heard of Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
You never know. It's only a $3 billion movie.
I think it underperformed at the box office, if I remember correctly.
Actually, they did say it underperformed. They wanted to do $4 billion.
They wanted to beat the record by $1 billion.
They did, yeah.
They fucking cheated to beat the record too.
What do you mean?
They cheated.
I think they were gonna get it anyway, but they did re-release it.
Yeah, they were just like, man, we didn't do it.
You mean like the way Avatar's been re-released 19 times?
And so has Titanic.
Avatar's the best. Yeah. I still had in my head Titanic was like
Titanic's a worse offender. That were re-released it every like 5 years. You'd be like, for a limited time only in theaters. Titanic, like you've never seen it before.
Avatar, they just like, oh, we put this in a new filter. Come watch it.
Still haven't seen Avatar.
Tone.
Oh, that would be gross to watch.
It would be horrible.
That would be so bad to watch. I would not be able to watch it.
I'll watch Avatar and I put in a noir filter.
I feel like I should edit that movie and stuff. Yeah, no. All right, Tom. What about you? What's your ensemble?
I have two that I can't really decide between. But one's a much better movie. But the first one is Tropic Thunder.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
The movie's really grown on me over time. But the for real movie is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh yeah.
It's got a wide array of fellas.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot of people.
Got the Owen Wilsons.
It made me like bust out laughing out of nowhere several times. Like it's a really well made movie.
Yeah.
really goofy, unexpected stuff, and a Howie scream. So I love it.
Gotta love the Howie.
That's my highest rated like straight comedy of all time.
It's got
That's the Owen Wilson brothers.
No, I said it's got Owen Wilson in it.
Oh, I think it's the Owen Wilson brothers.
I mean, to be fair, nobody really cares about. Brothers. Yeah, nobody cares about Luke Wilson.
I like Luke Wilson.
Well, Grand Budapest.
I like Luke Wilson.
Yeah. Grand Budapest has Jude Law, Adrian Brody, the guy that played Flash in Spider-Man, the new ones.
Oh,
it's got a bunch of good people in it.
It's got Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes.
Jeff Goldblum, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Willem Dafoe's just like good. He's just really good.
Yeah, it's great.
It's got Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, it does.
Bill
Murray.
That other guy that's like.
Don't get me started on Bill Murray.
The guy that played Mozart, like Abraham something. He's like the old guy at the beginning. That plays yeah. Abraham F. Murray, I think his name is.
Boy,
yeah.
What's your movie, Tyler?
All right. So the movie I picked is a movie that is very, very similar to the movie we watched this week in terms of structure, directorial style, and I would say quality. That movie is the 2000 multi-Academy Award winner film Traffic from Steven Soderbergh.
Isn't Sandra Bullock in it?
No, Sandra Bullock's not in it. We have Benicio del Toro, Michael Douglas, Don Cheadle's in it, Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it, Dennis Quaid's in it.
She dips beneath lasers.
What's his name? That guy, Luis Guzman. That guy's in it.
He's in this movie.
Yeah,
as himself apparently, because that's his name in the movie. I laughed really hard when I saw that. Like Luis Guzman as Luis Guzman. I'm like, oh, neat.
Miguel Ferrer's in it too.
Wasn't that the guy directing Magic Mike?
But Albert Finney's in it. Yeah, I was actually. It was. He also this guy's done a lot of ensemble movies. He actually also had he did all the Ocean's movies. And he also had my backup pick, which is I was gonna come in with two picks too. Contagion was another movie that I was considering, but then I just thought about over a couple days. Like this was just way better than Contagion.
Contagion's a really good CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Oceano.
Yucky.
Yeah, so before we even get into the review, if you guys happen
What about Ryan's?
I'm not skipping over. I'm saying if you guys happen to enjoy the movie we watched this week, then I would really recommend Traffic as well.
Boop. Well, I'm going to be lame because I was trying to think of a movie besides this movie to pick, but honestly I was like, you know what? This is my favorite ensemble movie. I think like Pulp Fiction is the only one I can think of where I was like, I would take that one too.
I thought you were going to say Birdman.
I wouldn't really call that an ensemble.
How many people do you need to qualify to be an ensemble?
I don't think it's necessarily people. I think it's the way.
It's the quality of the people.
Yeah, it's like how much screen time that they have because like there's a bunch of actors in There's a bunch of actors and actors in Birdman who but it's really just fucking Michael Keaton just murdering the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really, and it's usually that guy makes movies like that too. He made his two movies before this were like strong interweaving story films.
Yeah.
What's your second pick?
My second pick would be like a random porno from like 2004 that just had.
John.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's an ensemble cast of people though.
Starring John Carpenter and his many ladies.
Whoever he could trick.
Respect the cock. And tame the cunt. Stanley the man.
I don't know the answer.
That is not right. That's not right, Stanley.
See, this is the scene of the movie where you help me out.
I don't want him to die. I didn't love him when we met, and I did so many bad things to him that he doesn't know. Things that I want to confess to him. But now I do. I love him.
That's right. That's the first time you've been right. I confuse the two, and I don't care.
This is not an easy job. I have to take everything and play it as it lays. Sometimes people need a little help. Sometimes people need to be forgiven. And that is a very tricky thing on my part, making that call.
Per usual, let me give you the nice IMDb shortened version of the movie. An epic mosaic of interrelated characters in search of love, forgiveness, and meaning in San Fernando Valley.
Wasn't Mosaic that girl from like Ned's Declassified?
Mo.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't that a rapper?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, I'm thinking of Mos Def.
I'm thinking of R. Kelly.
What do y'all think of the movie?
I
really interesting.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
As expected. I don't think there was a way I was not liking this movie. Yeah. How did everyone feel about the runtime?
I felt like it didn't feel long. You know, it felt like watching Endgame, like, because it's so captivating and it's fun to watch that I didn't really feel like it was 3 hours. Like, I could tell it was a while because, like, obviously, like, runtime wise, like, it's 3 hours, but
yeah.
I wasn't like, oh, when is this movie gonna end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, this movie is kind of borderline anthology, where like it really is just like four stories going on at the same time.
Yeah, which I like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of movie that deserves that kind of runtime.
Exactly.
It's not just like one continuous linear story.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was talking about with when we were talking about Definitely Maybe, where I was like, could we make this longer and like make it serious and cut out the little kid stuff? And I was like thinking a movie like this, where it was like the girls had their own thing and like you just like watch them like pass through each other's lives. Like that's what I meant when I was like, I wish this movie was 40 minutes longer and didn't suck.
I like how the way you described it, like, I wish it had no rom or com. And it was serious.
I wish it was a different movie.
I wish it was Green Lantern.
Basically, I wish they simply rewrote the movie as a drama.
I wish John picked a different movie.
Never. Let's wait until the next one, bitches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
You think that's bad?
Nacho Libre.
If only. If only I had the balls for that.
Oh, that's where you cut the line?
Yeast.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie went by for me. Emma, at one point, I checked my phone to see what time it was. Like, I didn't like feel like it was dragging or anything. I was like, holy shit, I'm 2.5 hours into this movie. Yeah, this one's whips by, but movies like this tend to just move faster because, like you said, it's these short stories,
and because like stuff's actually happening too.
Yeah, because like it gives you like you're not like following this person like dwindling on this longer journey. It just like you're building the tension by just like going and looking at something else.
Yeah.
So like you can just it's like it's really easy to fuck these movies up, but he does a really good job with just like building you to like a boiling point, like with tension, then like circling back around, checking in on all those characters, and then the boiling point actually all happening at the same time and interweaving. So you have like a sweet like mosaic where everything's like either like where everything like is progressing a similar way in all the character stories.
What I'm curious about is if somebody actually like cropped together like everyone's storyline into like different section, like into like a complete section. I'd be interested to see that.
Someone did.
Yeah,
I actually watched an hour 15-minute making of this movie.
Well, I was gonna say, just like me, just like loving the way Paul Thomas Anderson makes movies. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if they like very, very detailed the storyboard for this movie before they even like before they even did the script almost. So, like he had a rough idea of the way. I don't know that.
It's actually pretty much the opposite. this was after Boogie Nights. He was just trying to make like a quick little movie, and this was his quick little movie. And so he's like, yeah, okay, well, I want to shoot out. He wants to shoot another movie right away because he like figured there'd be expectations of them after Boogie Night, and he didn't want and he just said like, okay, so why don't we just do it then? We'll just give him another movie right away. We'll meet the expectations. So that's why once it settled down with Boogie Nights, he went and just wrote for 8 months, and like the last end of it, he just went to some cabin and just like cranked out like. Basically, I think he said like 95% of the script in the last 2 weeks of those 8 months.
I wish I could crank one out.
So and I guess like he wasn't. I figured by the way like the music was in this movie that he collaborated, like had the opportunity to collaborate with Amy Mann to do the soundtrack, but it actually was like the opposite, where like he was inspired by Amy Mann in that line that Claudia says, "Would you object to never? Would you object to?" Never see me again. That's just a line from a song, and that's where he got that. He took that idea, and that's where the story built off of that line.
I was gonna give that trivia, dickhead.
Trivia. But yeah, so he must have had all these ideas of these people and just cranked it out all into a script. Like once the wheel started moving.
Yeah.
I would definitely believe that too, because I really like movies like this a lot. I try to seek out movies in this style. It's really hard to find like real quality ones, and on an individual character basis, I think this is easily the best like use of this type of filmmaking I've ever seen.
Yeah, the score plays a really big part in the movie too.
I just mean like on the individual character basis. Like there's no character that's just like a straight throwaway. I think the biggest
there's
throwaway
really
is,
not.
Honestly, if I had to pick a throwaway, it's like the little kid.
That's something I want to talk about too. The fact that they build up a lot of these characters so well, and where they end up is something I want to talk about after. But
absolutely
further down the line.
Yeah.
One last little tidbit before we actually start talking about the movie. I wasn't sure if you said this when you were talking about, but him listening to like a ton of Amy Mann while he was writing, then he ended up like tapping her to just do an original soundtrack for the entire movie.
Yeah, the soundtrack to this movie is great.
Yeah,
it's so
all
good.
All the music was written for the movie.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous how good the music in this movie.
In like listening to this music out of a context, like it's not really like for me. And like it's just the way like he intertwines it though. Even like the not just the Amy Mann music though, but the cinematic music is like really good in this too.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start getting into the movie. What did you guys just think about just the opening little introduction to what's going to be in store for you watching this movie?
I love that they gave us something that was literally that had nothing to do with the movie, but at the same time meant everything. And like this also just gave you got you interested right away.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like at first, like when I saw the intro, I was like, okay, and then like as the movie progressed, I'm like, all right, this is kind of like that kind of makes a little bit more sense now. I thought it was a very clever way to open the movie. I really liked it.
It opens with the cop, right?
It opens. No, he's talking about the opening.
Like, literally just like that, like the opening narration.
Yeah.
Where he says, this happened, where it's like a suicide, where the guy jumps out the window and gets shot, but it's a suicide because of the nets.
Right.
Yeah, and it just sets it up for something that you know that there's going to be this big like this is just going to be you kind of know what this movie is going into it, but you know that there's going to be some incredulous chain of events that leads to something intertwining. And I think it's really cool how they just like give you this. They plant the idea for you with something unrelated at the same time, very, and they just like let you know. Like they keep you waiting for like this. Like I call it in these movies the crash or the collision. Like they just keep you waiting for the crash all movie.
Yeah. I guess when you put it that way, it is super clever because I kind of felt let down by where that turned out. But when you put it that way, since it never really ended the way I was expecting it to or thought it might, like it kept me thinking about it, and it totally steered me towards that path of thinking like there's going to be a crash at some point. Yeah. So I guess it was a really clever way to make you not forget about it too.
Yeah, it gives you like a focal point to work towards.
Yeah.
And and this movie does a really good job of just like building the stakes around the characters, and like which makes when there's eventual EV crash like more effective. That's like really where these movies like make or break themselves. The editing has to be like excellent. If you fuck up the editing, the movie's not going to be good.
True.
And like if the characters like don't have stakes or they're just like still people that are just like arbitrary to you, like it just there's no impact. It's usually kind of like, oh, that was cool, but there's like it leaves a lot to be desired unless you like hit all those marks.
Right.
I mean, this movie's not exactly linear, so I don't think it's like really like correct to talk about in a linear way.
Yeah, I think it's more we can like start like and just like kind of discuss characters as they go.
Yeah, I have notes that I'm gonna read off when we talk about certain parts.
Yeah, I have all the characters' names written down.
Actually,
helpful.
I forgot to do that. But going back to that beginning section, I have is it? Yeah. I have janitor from Scrubs, which is one of my notes, and then 2 scoops of tomato soup.
All right then.
Wait.
Janitor, oh yeah, janitor. He's right at the beginning.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that like robs the guy in front of the bank. It's like one quick shot.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah. I didn't even see it the first time.
I remember you saying Neil Flynn was in it, and then I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it's literally like Bruce Lycan one. His name was Michael, and his name was Barry, and his name was Valley. Yeah, it was like he's one of the robbers.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's literally a face shot, and that's it.
Yeah, and then the 2 scoops of tomato soup.
Yep.
Yeah. Splat.
Yeah. Splat and bang.
Who is everybody's favorite character?
I like Blaze a lot.
Can you name them all real quick?
All right. I have Quiz Kid Donnie Smith, Earl Partridge, Linda Partridge, which is the what's her name? Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
Phil Pharma, TJ Mackey, Jimmy Gator, Claudia Gator, which is the daughter, Rose Gator, which is the wife, Genius Stanley Spector, and Officer Jim Curring.
Tom Cruise.
Honestly, probably Philip Seymour Hoffman's character.
I'm on Officer Jim Curring.
Oh.
I like Officer Jim Curring.
I think mine would be Donnie Smith, but very closely followed by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Who's your guys' least favorite character?
Actually,
the game show host. I thought
I was going to say the officer.
The officer, yeah.
I did not like it. Like
Same.
Like him, but it's like,
well, I mean, like everything he does kind of fucking sucks, and like he makes bad decision after bad decision.
I lost my gun.
I like when he's like, he's the cop, and he does not pick up on the fact that she's clearly an addict of some sort.
That's the point.
He like does for a second and then goes away from it.
He's like, "Are you high?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "All right, can we go on a date?"
She comes to the door like when he comes back, and she's like freaking out, like tweaking out, and he still like ignores it.
He's like, "Can we go on a date? I'm really lonely."
He's like, ah!
I think
like,
they allude to how much of a bubbly cop he is just right off the rip when like after he like gets into the lady's apartment and then all ignoring him in the background.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, get out of here, curly-headed fuck.
Speaking of the cop, I got one of my notes is sassy black woman and John C. Reilly.
I think he had the best arc. That's why I don't know.
He did, yeah.
Also the kid rapping.
If we're talking about the character, he's my least favorite, but his arc had like the most satisfying, I think.
I think it's like why I like him though, because like just like what like the conclusion.
That's his story.
Like, I think he comes to like the best like conclusion like on his own, and I think he's just like the best. I think he's like the best intentioned character in the movie too.
I agree.
Hey, tells a kid to stay in school.
I had Rose Gator as my least favorite character.
Which one was that?
The mother.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I'd call her like a like she was more of like a supporting, like not like one of like the big story.
She reacted enough, I think, to be important.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like she's probably
she was faced with some of the same stuff. Like the movie's all about like how much can you forgive, and she was totally faced with that, I think.
Yeah.
If I excluded her, I honestly might pick Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Yeah, I didn't like him that much either.
Just because he's a little bitch. He's a little bitch the whole movie.
Yeah.
I like when he tried to off himself.
What?
Oh, that was a different
somebody else.
Yeah, that was sorry. Yeah, never mind. I liked when people try to off themselves. And then they fail.
I got a pretty tragic story too.
I think for Donnie, for me, like the reason why he's like my favorite in the movie is like because of like the pretty much the entirety of like the bar scenes with him.
Yeah.
Really, for me is like why I'm like, oh.
Well, that's pretty much all his scenes.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like 2/3, I'd say.
Yeah. It's most like it's the bulk of his character.
He pissed his pants.
Yeah, and then all the payoff comes up afterwards.
When he was a kid.
What?
No! What are you talking about?
Did you really think he was Stanley?
I know.
They had different names.
I know. I'm just.
He was watching him on TV.
Yeah,
I know.
That's like where it brought it all up.
I know that. Yeah, I know.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Okay.
You just trying to cover it?
Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. So why don't we just go down the line then? So Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Fuck him.
I don't have any notes on him.
He is the character played by William H. Macy. Probably in his probably like mid-late 40s. It was 68 that he was on the quiz show.
He's like 40, he's probably like just getting to his 40s, like mid-40s maybe.
So, he used to be a little kid phenomenon, like another character in this movie.
He's what the
game show.
The Quiz Kid.
Yeah, Billy the Quiz Kid. That's what he's based off of.
Adventure Bros.
Yep.
So he used to be the hot shit quiz kid that was famous when he was a little kid, and then fame ran out, and he was just a kid on TV, and his parents took his money. So now he's a 40-year-old loser with nothing to show for it.
He got struck by lightning.
He did.
He got struck by lightning, and that fucked him up because he used to be smart, and now he's just stupid.
And he didn't need braces. Donnie, your teeth are fine.
Right.
Just like what thought process do you have to go to, or like maybe the hunky male bartender will like me if I get braces.
I want to think about it. Like, I think there's a lot to his character from everything.
Oh, there's a lot. He has a very good arc too.
The whole thing, the fact that he blames being stupid on being struck by lightning, I think is a big clue. Like, I don't think that really has any correlation. I think being a quiz kid doesn't really have much to do with being really smart. It's just memorization.
Yeah.
So I think that's a step, and then like same kind of decision making where he's like, if I get braces, this bartender who also has braces will love me. Like, it's like just making bad connections, like just dwelling on things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do love when the Solomon brothers are just roasting him in the office.
Oh yeah, I had. That's one of my notes. Yeah, Middle Eastern Doc Ock.
I just love like his whole character, where like he's just like clinging on to being the quiz kid.
Yeah.
Like anybody gives a shit.
Right.
Oh, it's the quiz kid.
I love when he's in the bar.
Okay, bud.
He gets kind of drunk.
Oh, it's the quiz kid. Let's suck his dick.
Yeah.
I'm the quiz kid. I'm Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Oh,
let me suck your cock. I'll take my braces off for you. Does that work like that? I don't know. I never had braces.
Yeah, you just pop them out real quick.
So he has the I'd say the least spoon fed arc too.
I literally have no notes on him at all.
Yeah, he's the least spoon fed because there's nothing there's no one event that you can point or experience really you can point to where you can be like, this person's like this and they need resolve from this. A lot of the characters were he just grew up having an arc to this another character in this movie where every just looked at him like he was he was just in a zoo, he was just he was a freak, if people just wanted to hear the kid answer quiz questions and be smart, and it didn't matter what he thought about it, it didn't matter it didn't matter his feelings, and he just has trouble contending with that as an adult now that he's not this big deal that people are. He's not treating him the same way because he's not this quiz kid anymore.
That's child actors as a whole. Think about someone like Macaulay Culkin. I'm sure people were like, "Can you do the face thing?" His in
slap your cheeks,
slap your cheeks, and do the face thing. I'll have aftershave right here.
eat a piece of pizza.
Eat a pizza.
He had some good ass pizza in those movies.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of the video from like 8 years ago where he was just like, in the
pizza.
diner,
He just
fucked up eating a pizza.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know about that? Oh my god, that's classic. Dude.
I will post that in Discord.
It's really good.
The picture thread of him and I don't know what actor constantly they like one of them was wearing a picture of the other one, and then they just kept printing pictures of the other one of that picture, and it's just a giant rabbit hole of like 9 shirts.
It wasn't that Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon.
Maybe.
Yeah, they did like the coffee mug and then like the T-shirt and like a whole bunch of stuff. And then I think Justin Timberlake had like a picture of both of them with their like shirt and mug, and then in the like in his background in his house or whatever. And like he was wearing a hoodie or something. Like I don't know, it was like something crazy like that. But yeah, good old JT. Okay, where was I? Oh, who are we going to talk about next? What character?
All right. Well, so why don't we go to his parallel?
Stanley?
Which would be genius Stanley Spector.
His dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I fucking hate his dad.
Who is the actor that played him? I could not.
I couldn't either.
He seems super familiar.
I don't think he was in anything. I remember.
Oh, well, I liked him as an actor, not as a character. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit dad.
Oh, the dad.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
such a piece of shit. Blaming everyone else for everything.
I did. Like, I couldn't stand when he was on screen just because I didn't like him that much.
It's like immediately tensed up every time he came on screen.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is he gonna throw another chair?
As much as I hated it.
It's Michael Bowen. Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
He's
more than his dad, though.
It's impressive when you can play a character that just like someone you can hate that much.
Yeah.
I think they wrote Skyler's character in Breaking Bad the same way.
Yeah.
I haven't hated a character.
Unfortunately,
I haven't hated a character as much as when I watched 2014 Ghostbusters. 2016, whatever year that came out. I hated every one of that movie.
Yeah.
Well, I think we hate him for a different reason.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because they're not funny.
They're not.
Do you think the way that guy can't take responsibility for anything, like, kind of draws parallels to Donnie? Like, now as an adult, like, can't take responsibility for anything?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think all three of them were part of the same story.
Yeah, they had like a tandem bike of parallel stories.
Yeah.
They were father and son were riding the tandem bike, and Donnie was riding alongside them like a creep.
Hey, I'm on quiz game.
I have quiz game.
Remember me?
I need oral surgery
and sex.
My oral surgery.
Oral surgery and oral sex. My two favorite things.
Yeah, he definitely had like a true comedic story too. How like that oral surgery played such a part in it, and ends with him smashing his teeth on the ground.
Yeah. I'm like, oops, all replacement, all dentures.
Yeah. Made such a big deal about it that it turned out you do need oral surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking.
That was hard to watch too.
I'm not a fan of teeth breaking.
Yeah, up close.
Yeah,
and like his face was swollen afterwards.
Yeah, teeth and fingers. Like when I see someone's fingers get cut off, I don't like that. Or fingernails being pulled off. No thanks.
Oh, fingernail. Yeah, that's different than fingers.
No, like but both of those. Like if somebody gets their like one of my biggest fears is to get my fingers cut off.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. Finger stuff in movies isn't so bad for me, but teeth is.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Both. Oh, no thanks.
That's how I feel about Achilles. Because I think they're at fucking 10 years old. Fucking John Heaters. Is it John Heaters?
No, it's just some guy.
Or whatever. Oh, I thought whatever the fuck that guy is, and just it's burned in my mind of watching his legs move and his feet stay on the ground, and it'll never leave my memory. Thank you, Tyler.
We watched that last month too, and like honestly, like it's not even like that serious.
Yeah, but I saw that fucking 10 years old.
No, I remember thinking
I could slice my Achilles at any time.
I remember like at the time though, like people were like this movie's fucking vile, and like some of the stuff I also watched like last month, like that movie's little kid stuff.
Wait, what movie we talk about?
Hostel.
Oh, I've never seen it.
with
it's
Blowtorch face.
Yeah, if you were to actually slice your Achilles tendon, it would like roll back up into your leg.
Yeah,
and
it
you
makes
pull
a
a chain
sound.
up too
Yeah.
fast.
It makes a sound effect, like you hear it, like go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it rolls back up.
Doesn't that happen? Doesn't that happen in Pet Cemetery, like the original one?
They don't do as good as a job with it, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, did you see the part where he gets hit by a car or the truck? Yeah, not a good scene either. No, I hate that. I hate that part. It's so bad.
All right, so back to the Genius Kid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Rams.
So Stanley's partners.
Yeah, Stanley's partners suck.
Yeah, that fat kid is a piece of shit too.
Yeah,
he's got puka shell necklace.
Little bitch. The bitch with the puka shells. I didn't even notice the puka shell necklace actually.
Oh, I've seen so.
I think I just have those like wiped out of my memory, so like anytime they come up, they're invisible to me.
Yeah, everyone just sucks like to this kid.
It's very 90s, yeah. Yeah, like literally like even like the producer's like, you can't go pee. And he's like, I really gotta go pee, miss. And he's like, nah, we're gonna start.
Ow. I ask questions.
It takes a minute to go pee. Like let the kid pee.
That was definitely a 2-minute piss right there.
Oh god, I could go for a 2-minute piss right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
the kind when you get halfway through and you're like, damn, I should be timing this.
Yeah. Like this might be record breaking.
So, I mean, I guess he's kind of like important to like truly like understand that. It's actually interesting you think about it. Like they're coming like a way to use like this character's storyline to like tell Donnie Smith's story as well.
Yeah.
It just instead of just like him actually talking about what he went through, like you just get to watch another storyline and get to watch the same story.
That's what I love about like not only is it like the entire plot merges together, but just like all the stories have overlap with each other, just like in the themes.
Yeah, they do a good job of like interweaving everything.
Yeah.
There's less of like I'll just wait till we get through it a little. I figure we'll talk about like we'll call the collision or the crash after we get through all the characters.
Yeah.
Probably makes most sense. Yeah, I'll save it for then. Okay, so basically, so you get this arc. This kid's a boy genius, like to the point where all he does is study. He doesn't have to go to real class anymore.
His sister won't stay out of his laboratory.
So this kid's on this game show hosted by another one of our characters, Jimmy Gator, longtime game show host, winning a shitload of money for presumably his father, like the other kid's parents as well, because they seem way more invested in their kids just winning than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it seems like his partners like it just too. It's just like it's not like they care. It doesn't seem like they give a shit about winning money. It's just they just love like this like free roll train they're on.
Yeah,
like everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Stanley just like knowledge.
Yeah, Stanley's in it for the purity. He's in there just to get smart.
Yeah, he's totally a purist.
He's smart for the pure reasons.
That kid fucks.
That kid fucks.
That kid's gonna be like grow up to be a bajillionaire, and then he's gonna fuck.
He's gonna.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's definitely way smart. He's definitely way smarter than Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't fuck?
Donnie.
The fucking
Donnie.
Donnie does not fuck.
I think overall, though, Stanley has one of the weaker arcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, but like in that absence, it helps strengthen like a stronger arc of Donnie Smith, who I think was a weaker character than him.
Yeah, it's like telling his story about when he was a kid through someone else's life.
I mean, he's almost a supporting main character.
Exactly. Yeah.
They had that one moment with him and his dad, and it was like if they had kept going with it, it would have been a much more satisfying ending. But they just got it there. And I get why they did. The movie was still 3 hours. And it told the story it needed to, but yeah.
Yeah, but he kind of really definitely earns he probably has more screen time than Donnie Smith.
He does. I definitely feel like he does. Yeah.
Yeah, but he really has like the scene where he stands up for himself.
Right.
Where it's really important. Where it's a really big highlight in the film, I think for sure too. I think that's one of like the best things one of the best individual things that happens.
Yeah.
But overall, like his character, I agree. It's not like the most satisfying conclusion. It's just almost like a moment of clarity or self-realization. But there's nothing like, I don't think there's anything that like ends up being profound about it.
Right.
Where some of the other characters had more of a promising ending.
Right. Yeah, the best you get is his dad hesitates before saying "go to bed" the second time.
Yeah,
like that's the most you get out of it.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't seem like there's much like hope for his character.
Yeah, that guy was so closed-minded. You can't really assume that anything's gonna change.
I just fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to hate him, so it's pretty good.
I know.
He did his job.
Let's win some fucking money.
Yeah. So circling around to the man that brought Stanley and Donnie together, let's go and talk about game show host Jimmy Gator.
Boring.
I like Jimmy Gator.
I didn't care about his arc at all.
Medium.
Yeah, it was.
I thought he had a very good driving story with the whole having cancer line.
Yeah. It's he could have had anything but cancer, and it would have been cool.
It would have been better if they went with dementia. It would have worked better with this story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think 100%. Yeah, because
everyone
gets cancer.
He had, I won't say what it's about, but he had that one line where he said, "I don't remember." And for a second, I thought, "Oh right, he has dementia." I'm like, "No, wait, it's cancer."
Yeah.
I agree that would be better, but the issue with that is like that's like a slower breakdown. Whereas I think they wanted the impact of "I'm gonna die." So
more of a definite end to him.
It's like another thing that really sits with me on that is there was the scene where he starts rambling and gives away the answer to one of the questions.
I love that. Yeah, I do love that.
He had something else on his mind, and it's like if they had built it from the start and he like forgot where he was at that moment.
Yeah,
like scenes like that really stand out to me. There was a scene in the first season of Better Call Saul where he's in the bingo parlor and he's like talking about like all the ways he fucked up like out of nowhere and how he's thinking about leaving. He's like kind of saying that in the middle of announcing the letter or the number or whatever, and it's just, like so out of place and like rambly. Like I really like that stuff.
Yeah. I didn't even catch it. I was invested at that point. I didn't really catch it, but that does like make more sense. Like, what does like other than him just being distracted, what kind of does lead him to that rambling like that?
Right.
I think I just hate old people.
Listen, I think it's also like what I was saying, even with Stanley. I think this movie has a supporting main actors and like there's like there's like 3-4 people in the movie who are like what the story's about, and then using other people to then add more to those people's stories.
Yeah, they're like the season.
Like time, but like it's like not as in depth as other ones.
Yeah, he feels like an A storyline to me, though. It feels like he's driving the plot around a lot.
Yeah,
he kind of feels like he's placed there. Yeah,
he's like because you gotta like he introduces a lot of characters, and he's like almost like the top of the tree to him. Because without him driving the storyline, you don't have the wife, you don't have you don't have Claudia. You really don't have.
He's more of like the accessory to Claudia. To me,
I guess.
Because he gives more layers to her character once you find out more.
I think he has his own defined storyline though, where like
no, that's what I mean. It's the same way with Stanley, where Stanley does have a fun storyline.
Oh well, I think like him being the host, is kind of important too. Like he doesn't turn out to have the most important storyline. He's more of an accessory to Claudia and all that, but he's there early on, and you learn more about him early on than you do about Claudia, and he's like the host of that game show. So I think it was a good choice because he's more. I know that actor. I like watching him be and stuff. So I think it was a pretty good choice.
Yeah,
to have him drive it.
I like the storyline of the guy that just like he's on his way out, but he's just gonna work and he's just gonna work at this job he's done for so long until he's out. It almost like feels like before he has his like revelation when he's still on the show, it feels like that guy he doesn't have anything else and he's just like holding on to this because like that's what's important to him.
Right? Yeah, he was in Law and Order, right?
I don't know.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it's super topical too because of Alex Trebek. Like,
what
a time to watch this movie.
Yeah, and like Alex Trebek like knew he had terminal cancer, right?
And he still did the show.
Well, he did it as long as he could, and then he stepped away.
Good for him, dude. Our rest in peace, Alex Trebek. You were an amazing game host.
I did really like Jeopardy when I was younger.
Yeah.
You home from school, pop on some Jeopardy, then some Maury right after. It's great after.
I know useless things.
What is Zelda?
I like his character better than his daughter's, though.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in his storyline than I am in hers.
It kind of seems like she gets a little bit of redemption at the end, but it feels like she doesn't deserve it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like nothing really happens with her.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing.
I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent about her. As far as like where her resolution ends up and like how I feel about her as a character. Because of like the revelation that Jimmy Gator has, like it starts to tip it back towards her favor, but it's still, I think it's somewhere in like the middle where like I'm not really sure. Like, but I think that might just because I don't really love her character either. Yeah. He's presiding. Do you think there was like I'll wait till later to ask that question with Jimmy Gator. But Jimmy and I think if we're gonna discuss sort of him like supporting other characters, he really is, honestly, if you think about like the centrifuge to like all these characters. Like he is, like he's not the top one, but he's he's like the guy in the middle. So if you think about it, he's kind of the supporting character to Earl Partridge.
Yeah. It was the game show was an Earl Partridge production or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like that's what I mean. Like he's the big umbrella tree where he's connected to everyone.
Yeah.
But then like if you go directly down and branch off of that, that's where I would put like the Jimmy character, where everybody's connected to him, but Earl is like the big umbrella to really like tie everyone together.
Yeah.
But like with the revelation that Earl has, like his conclusion, you start to see it draws a lot of parallels to Jimmy's conclusion as well. And then like in that moment you start to see the parallels to like the person Jimmy is, like through the but through the eyes of Earl, because it's almost like this. I never really even thought about this until like now. It's the same dynamic of like Stanley like being the current storyline to tell you about Donnie. So in a way, is Jimmy like the storyline to tell you about Earl?
Oh yeah,
my name is Earl.
Yeah, because like they draw the same parallels. Like the conclusion, they're both like they're both in the TV business, and I think it's safe to say that Earl's the one that brought him up. He's slightly older, but like now they're both on the out.
Yeah, and like the last time we see Jimmy, he's just starting to face the fact that he might have done something to Claudia.
Yeah. They both have like this self real like almost like a cathartic like admittal to their self.
Yeah.
Where they can make peace with their own mortality and kind of face the actions of their way. Both through other characters, and they earn the distinction both through other characters.
Yeah,
but I think for as little as the Earl character really speaks, or like we learn about him, he does like a good job somehow of like really like still becoming a character that there's like some type of investment in. Maybe it's the same deal with just all these people supporting him.
Yeah.
I guess Philip Seymour Hoffman's really just his mouthpiece. He's not really connected to anyone else.
Right.
Speaking of Earl, did anyone notice he looked like Rudy Giuliani?
I don't think he looked anything like Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that I've seen him so much lately.
Maybe if Rudy Giuliani lost like 150 pounds.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe that's a future Giuliani.
I think he looked like a Redead from Ocarina of Time.
I think he looks more like that than Rudy Giuliani.
Well, that's what I have in my notes.
Well, your notes are shit.
Interesting takeaway.
These notes.
Actually, going back to the game show. Shout out to Clark Gregg, director Coulson, for being a director.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's Clark Gregg.
I have that in my notes too. I have director Coulson.
Yeah, and like when when Jimmy collapsed, Clark was like right there, right on the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Like, there he is. There's my boy.
My boy. All right, going back to Earl though, and Philip Seymour Hoffman as the Merce.
Yeah. He's really just like the mouthpiece from so you can like keep progressive Earl's storyline for him.
Yeah.
And Earl's like really all you know about him. Like I don't just give him sympathy points because he's dying.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
Yeah. But so like anything you know about him is really just like that he was like a dirtbag. So like I think having Seymour like Philip Seymour Hoffman being this like probably other than like Jim Curring, he's probably like the most wholesome character in this movie.
Except for when he watches porn and then orders peanut butter cigarettes and porn.
That was so out of pocket.
I love that.
He ordered the porn to get TJ Mackey's number.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, because I remember.
Okay,
that's weird. Then he pulled the thing. And I was like, that's the most '90s thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's like, can I get some peanut butter, some cigarettes, some bread?
Yeah, because when he ordered that, I was like, is this guy gonna like?
Do you have Hustler? Playbook?
But like with the dogs around, I thought he was going somewhere weird with the peanut butter and the dogs around in the porn.
Yeah.
I did not put that together, but that's gross that you thought of that.
Like, that's fucking weird. I thought he was gonna be like some type of psycho.
We now know why Tyler doesn't have a dog.
I love how the phone operator's just like, it's about the peanut butter and cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's about the peanut butter and cigarettes. Yeah, but yeah, that was like the most '90s thing, the buying porn so they could get TJ Mackey's number.
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah,
it's just like the most '90s thing I've ever heard.
I bought a porn mag once. It was funny.
It was so funny.
And it turned out to be a fat chick porn mag.
So it's not that it turned out. You really like. Oh, my dad loves fat chicks.
I gave it to him too, and he was like super upset about it.
Picked it up and said that like immediately.
It was like $6 well spent.
Jeez, that's it.
In New Hampshire.
Yeah, all New Hampshire money. That's why.
Yeah, we were recording. Yeah,
you make like $7 an hour there. So you go there with Massachusetts money, you can buy the whole farm.
All right.
Yeah. So Phil Farmer kind of just works as a sympathetic mouthpiece for Earl.
He's a Merce.
I had a great meta moment on the phone when he finally got through to TJ Mackey's people.
What was the meta moment I missed?
When he breaks the fourth wall, he's like, "This is the part in the."
Oh yeah. I didn't like think about that being like a meta moment, but
I mean, it was. Wasn't
there? There were plenty of meta moments too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Cruise literally declared the second act or the first act.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't remember the exact line, but it was also a super meta moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite meta moment was when it zoomed in on the painting, I think, in Claudia's apartment.
Yeah.
It was like, it really did happen. It's like, okay, because I was curious. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman is my favorite character. I think the most interesting thing about him is that he's just like a CNA. He doesn't have any real attachment to Earl other than he's been caring for him for a while.
Yeah.
And the movie, a lot of the themes in the movie are about forgiveness and finding love and having a purpose. And it shows so that some of these characters have it and don't deserve it, and others are trying super hard but just can't find it.
Yeah.
And he's one of these characters that just goes and puts in the effort for no reason other than like he's been sitting there listening to this guy.
Yeah,
and he puts in this crazy effort for something that Earl probably doesn't even deserve. And like it works out in the end. And I feel like Philip Seymour Hoffman's character gets no payoff, and that's the biggest gripe I have. That's the biggest gripe I have with this movie in general, is that he doesn't have any payoff, but at the same time, he doesn't have any real attachment to the character. So
I think his payoff is he got to help someone move on. And like he brought like the father and son together for like this cathartic moment, because as the caregiver, like I think his purpose is like he's one of the themes of people just looking to give love. So he got to bring this moment together where the son could walk away like feeling better about himself and like making the first steps to becoming a better person. And the father,
that's true. Instead of just like taking care of someone until they die, he actually like was there to accomplish some big goal for that person before he died.
And
in the process, healing someone else who still has a lot of life to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's his payoff, but it's the same thing. It's really just how you feel about it.
Yeah, it has no personal attachment to him. Like a lot of these characters are clearly showing you they're trying to grow as a person, and that's not what he shows you. But he is like the most reason to grow, I think.
Yeah, he's like probably the biggest standout character in this movie. Where a lot of basically every character in this movie has like some sort of like fault. And like they're like that's something that is like hobbling them back from being like the best person they can be. And the movie's really about just like coming to terms and accepting yourself, or having or being able to accept something. And his character doesn't really like
Jesus.
And yeah, his character doesn't really have like that fault in him, or like a lot of these other characters do.
Yeah, except he killed the dog.
Yeah, that was him he was too excited.
Yeah, it's what that was another thing. Like I thought that was gonna
have like a way more like
something bigger. Maybe I missed it, but like
I thought that was too. No, it doesn't really do anything. Like I was waiting for the dogs to like to have like some sort of effect. And all it was like you just saw him get gurneyed out at the end.
Yeah, by the time he got gurneyed out, I was like, oh, I guess it's not going to kill the dog. And then he did.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting that to like play some sort of role, especially with like the rain and like the thunderstorm and the dog being fucked up. I thought there was going to be like some type of different like tumbling of events.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, connecting these two characters, I guess that brings us to TJ Mackey.
Yeah.
Who is probably the most fleshed out character in
this movie. The cock, claim the cunt.
Tame the cunt.
Tame the cunt. He's so angry.
And when I heard that the first time, I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, I was laughing.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm screaming that at every girl I see now.
You just got like these fucking losers like in the audience.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, one guy had the symbol on the back of his shirt that was like it clearly looked like it was trying to symbolize Nazi symbolism. I'm like, damn.
Yikes.
Yikes.
It reminded me of Yes Man, like that conference, but like
crazier. A little bit.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise is basically a motivational speaker for men that have a little trouble with the ladies, and he has some issues in his head, some personal issues with the ladies, because his approach is probably the most misogynistic approach you could take to it.
No,
but yeah, maybe
that's the biggest overarch. That's where his arc really comes from, though, and it's kind of an important aspect of the character he plays. It's really interesting how they arrived to making him this type of person, for him to like perform the arc he does, because it's not really apparent right away. Like you would like have like this person's fucked up like this, so this is why they're going to turn out like this. Like you do have to go down some like a psychological chain of events and really think about it for a second to understand why someone would be like this, given what has happened in his life.
Yeah,
right. At first, I was thinking, like, what is this character going to become? And I thought, like, at some point they were going to cut to him in his outside life, and he's just going to be a completely different person.
Yeah.
I mean, they went a different route, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So we see him at this seminar. In between, like, I don't know, sessions of it, I guess, he's doing an interview with a reporter, a woman, who's just about the only woman at this place, and he even tells her, this is not safe for you here. It's like he's really believes in this philosophy of just like basically like tricking women and taking this like approach where it's like when we introduced them in the room at the first time, he's like literally in his underwear, like doing handstands and flexing, like talking about how he can like bang any girl he wants. All he needs is one look from them.
Yeah. And then like it's even harder for him because now people know who he is and they'll like all this and that.
Yeah, and he's just like blowing his roof off about this to like this woman reporter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he really just like really believes his own bullshit.
Right.
And, he's trying his best to like hold on to like that he's just this normal guy and he's like this because he's just like so woke and like so superior. But as she digs into him, like this has to be probably like my favorite part of the movie, like when the arc kind of happens for him.
Yeah,
she has the turn on him, and like when he gets bamboozled,
he's just staring at her.
Yeah, like he does like he's just never been attacked like that, and it's not even like him being attacked. It's like now he's provoked to like think about something that like his whole character is literally just designed so he doesn't have to think about.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, she hit the nail on the head, and he was not prepared for that.
Yeah, that was like that's a hard that's a pretty big arc, and like with the cinema, I remember very vividly like the cinemation, like the cinematic music during this like scene of like interweaving, like hitting the nails on the head, like was just phenomenal at this part.
Yeah.
This I definitely one of the high points. He's probably the highest character. Honest, Tom Cruise's character is probably. I think he's the most fleshed out character, and he probably has the best arc, I think.
Yeah, he's probably number 2 for me overall.
Yeah. Well, the longest, like, he at least, like, he's, like, in the upper echelon of, like, conclusion. And, like, at least, like, the most meaningful arc.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's provoked in a way he was not expecting to be provoked. And all at the same time, you had Philip Seymour Hoffman's character trying to contact him to get a hold of him because Earl is really his father. And the report that Earl is not a living person anymore, that his mother is in fact the person that's alive. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was trying to dance around without spoiling it, but yeah, that's a really like insane arc to me. Like the way she turns that around on him, like that was just such an impactful part in the movie. And that's like kind of what I meant, but like thinking about layers of it, like he's so like angry and doesn't like at his father about like having to put together after him to go through taking care of his mother that young and like feeling abandoned while his father was going around fucking around with his mother, that like just so like he wouldn't think about that and no one would ever have to like ask about, so he could just ignore, like he became this person that was in essence like his father, so he wouldn't have to like it's like it's almost like a protection of him like having to think about his mother if he just thinks about women as like these conniving people.
Right.
Like he kind of does that. It's kind of weird. Like I had it sound way better in my head before I said it.
I know what you're saying though. He had to start taking care of his mom when he was 14, I think they said.
Yeah, it was 14.
So he went through this big traumatic experience when he was very young. His dad leaving, his mom dying, his mom telling him about how terrible his father was, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so in his mind, he probably lost his childhood, and he wants to protect that. At his core, that's who he is. He's still that child. So he created this new persona to like take care of the stuff in the outside world, basically. But that's not who he really is.
It's like a persona to like to protect himself from having to think about those things. Like
exactly.
There's a lot of thinking, a lot of critical thinking that he went through to like write the character, or it would make sense that he would actually act like this, even though like why would he have such resentment towards women if it was his mom that was there for them?
Yeah. Right. Like that guy Frank has never been through any of that, so there's no way like that could come into his mind. Like the safest choice he could have made.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was just like his dad.
Yeah. That's a lot of like a big recurring thing of people like being like people being like other adult versions of them, of different characters in
like
this movie.
Father, like son.
Yeah.
Not even just like so much
sins
though.
Of the father.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you really. I mean, I was gonna like. I guess that does make sense. Even like father, like son, because you could almost equate Donnie Smith to being like Stanley's father.
Yeah, totally. Because Donnie gets a lot more like fleshed out than Stanley's father. Even though Stanley's father does get a fair amount.
Yeah, I think you're led to believe when he says like his parents took his money that he was in a similar situation. And like you're led to in like where now he's this guy that can't accept like any sort of responsibility and like blames everyone else like Stanley's father. It's almost the same thing. Like now Donnie is like Stanley's father,
right?
So you're still like considering, like you're still like holding respect to the whole theme of it.
Yeah, they're two ingredients to a character cake.
Yeah. So moving from TJ back, someone else he's sort of related with would be his father's remarried wife, Linda, played by Julianne Moore.
She's a Karen.
Another medium character for me.
Yeah, she's a Karen.
So I'm indifferent about her because the second I thought about what character do I like the least? She's like one of the first. She's like looking at this list. She's like kind of like where my eyes go.
Yeah,
but she really does have this kind of arc, and I think she's a lot better of an actor than anyone in this movie except maybe Tom Cruise
and Philip Seymour.
I mean,
come on, son.
Philip Seymour wasn't really given an opportunity in this movie to
in this movie,
yeah. Like he does fine, but there's nothing that profound.
Right. She has a lot more like bigger stuff to handle.
Yeah, like I don't think there's like really a stronger performance except maybe Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
but so because of that, it's hard for me to like look at that performance and that arc and the way they took her character, even if she's like kind of a detestable character. And then like look at someone who like I just don't think did as good as the job and like didn't have like the same storyline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why she kind of probably leans in the middle of the pack for me.
I think she may not my favorite speech, but like maybe my most memorable speech.
The one with when she's like coming to terms with the lawyer.
Oh no, I was gonna say when in the pharmacy, like it's not that big of a speech, but it's like that tiny little tidbit.
Yeah, she hung on to this little thing and blew up on that guy.
Yeah,
that's why she's.
He really was he was being a douchebag though. He really was.
He totally was, and it kind of seemed like he wanted to go like get high with her too.
Yeah. It was fucking Pat Healy's.
He was being a dick. the old pharmacy guy was like, "Oh, what the fuck?
Damn it."
Hey, lady.
Yeah, I thought that speech though with the lawyer was was pretty impactful. Where she's like admitting like I didn't love my husband.
Like,
I wanted
me out of the will.
Yeah, like I wanted his money, but now I really do, and I can't like do this to myself. It's like she came to her own like positive conclusion,
right?
Where like I think a lot of characters have to be led there.
And that's like where her character started too. Like in the first scene with that first lawyer, she's kind of like every time she says something to him and gets a response, she hesitates. Like she wants to say something else, but she's not quite there yet. Like that's right where she starts, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and I kind of like the conclusion her character takes too.
Yeah,
because like nobody like has like a good answer to like rectify it, and the way like if she were to like bow out like she did, I think that's pretty in line with her character, and I think it would actually have like a pretty good. I think they would have had a bigger impact on the film than ultimately where they went with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I assumed that was happening. Like I assumed that happened until like they told me differently.
Yep.
So like when you had like that scene like with the music playing and everybody kind of had like everybody like the downward spiral montage every character kind of started to have. Like I thought that
for a dream moment, if you will.
Yeah. Like, I thought that reminded me about like
I thought that was such a good way to like cap off that little like weaving little montage and to go into the final act of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was like that could have been really good, but I think her parts like she's given the opportunity to shine, and she does her acting performance is great. I think in this movie, but she's definitely one that I remember like more specifically about than everyone else. I remember everyone pretty well, but like I picked to like if I think of the specific moments in this movie. Like those are the ones I'm gonna think about, like something with her character or something with Tom Cruise's character.
Right, like I can think of her scenes more than I could think of Jimmy Gator's individual scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's nothing. I guess he really isn't like as much of it's really strange, like how he's framed. He's not like he has a driving storyline, but it's like he's not action.
He pulls a lot of things together, but it's like his own story isn't that important.
Yeah.
Like he's the good glue to a lot of stories is more like what his entire thing is.
Yeah.
So
and he's a great actor, so he kind of like carries it.
So I think we've kind of branched off from everyone else, and we got to run back the other way. Back to the Jimmy Gator storyline with his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
So, his wife, let's just go over his wife. His wife's not really that. Doesn't like she's important, like having pivotal like scenes.
Yeah.
And like having her own like thoughts on things and tying stuff together, but she doesn't really have like a storyline. That's
she does. She does coke and shows her titties.
Well, they don't give you.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the daughter.
They don't really give you anything about her character before she makes these decisions, where they do with a lot of the other people.
Yeah,
that's the thing. But yeah, she's involved in a lot of important stuff.
Yeah, but she doesn't really have her own individuality like his daughter does.
Well, she doesn't really have any real good screen time till like almost the second act, because like before the show, she's pretty much like her only line is like, "Oh, come home after the show." Like that's kind of like all her interaction is.
Yeah, she comes in when he starts when people start realizing that he's really sick.
Yeah. So his daughter kind of has. Well, that's his daughter's really what gets the ball rolling in the movie in the first place. But his daughter's has a much more fleshed out storyline. I like the way they present the daughter too, because you don't know really about her struggle until the end of the movie. And most of the movie, like you think the father's well off, like being what he's done for a long time, and she just seemed like the spoiled, kid of a rich person to me.
Mm-hmm. To me, at that point when she was introduced, they were showing they showed the cop already. They showed the crime going on and everything.
Yeah,
and they introduced her with inviting the random dude over and the coke and everything. Yeah, they already showed the scene with the woman in the apartment with the random dude in the closet. And they didn't show too much about what Claudia had going on, but she still felt like she was part of the story because of all the other crime related things.
Yeah.
So that was cool. They introduced her without having to give you a lot about her, I think.
Yeah. I like how they painted her like unsympathetic, and then they just they kind of did a backwards retraction of it through the means of other characters, kind of the same way they did with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Which interesting by doing this, because it's this is the scene where we're introduced to her, and there's the random guy there, and her father shows up. It's almost he comes in he's getting his daughter seems to be pretty unreasonable with him. He tells her he's dying, and
fuck you.
Yeah, and he gets the arc the other way though, where he comes off and as the sympathetic character, but as the movie progresses, it backwards the other way, where his daughter gets the turn to being a more sympathetic character. It's kind of an interesting juxtaposition they create right there.
Nice twist.
Yeah, but she has a flaw where she just can't help herself.
Yeah,
and has her own and has her own ways of substance abuse I think to deal with the reality of this. Right. And she can't go to her parents because of what we learn a little bit later on, and I think that really it's a good pairing with her main supporting character, which is going to be Officer Jim Curring. But at first, I thought she was just some spoiled rich kid at first, kind of living off her, because she's living in her own place. You never see her work. You just see her do drugs for the majority of the movie.
Yeah, the whole time.
Just do drugs the whole time, just act like a fucking dude. Yeah, and that's when our bumbling officer with a heart of gold, Jim Curring, shows up. He's the glue for this film. I just like the John C. Reilly character that he plays in literally every movie.
Yeah, just the aloof fool.
Yeah. Doesn't he just talk he sounds like he's always drunk?
Man. Well, he's got the most recognizable voice of all time, and I can't take him seriously because of it.
Yeah, he sounds he's drunk.
Any movie I've ever seen him in, he's just one note.
Yeah,
it's not it's necessarily he's not bad, but his generally speaking, I'm never oh, his character like is really feeling this. He just like kind of is like Claudia. Like literally, the only time I really felt like a different level out of him was when he lost his gun. Besides that, it all seemed like
he's
can't find my gun.
God, please help me.
Can't be playing music that loud. You risk the loss of your hearing if you play music that loud all the time.
Yeah, like him dealing with people being upset was really funny.
Yeah.
I keep my music at a nice 2.5, and I remember
maybe just memorize the number you put
on. So you're going to know 2.5 is a good listening volume.
Yeah, for my evening listening. That's great.
I think he has this flaw where like a lot of characters do, where they're just like they're embarrassed of themselves, or they don't want to like face themselves. So he plays off like he's just kind of like hard cop when he really just wants like someone to love and someone to accept him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think he totally focuses on his insecurities too much, and I think that's why they paint him as such an oblivious cop. Is because he's trying so hard to be a good cop and a good person that he's missing obvious things and like losing his gun and all that.
Like this woman clearly being out of her fucking mind on drugs.
Comes to the door, she's like, "What? Ah!"
Yeah.
My God.
I love watching him. I could watch him just bumbling around and talk to himself like all day.
Yeah.
I think should we get into the finale?
Did we miss anyone?
I don't think so.
No, I went down the whole.
I think we've hit all the pretty big notes.
All right, so
but you forgot about Neil Flynn's character.
Neil Flynn was in this right away.
Holler if you hear me.
Whoa, slow down there, Chief. Looks like we are entering spoiler territory. If you have not seen this film and would prefer for it not to be spoiled, you may want to consider skipping to the timestamp provided below. Thanks for listening. So generally in these movies, when the collision or the crash starts, one event that seems to affect them all in real time and intertwine them occurs, and in this movie it was the rain of frogs,
which is the most metal fucking thing.
So like that caught me off guard fucking hard.
I didn't know how to feel about it for days.
Yeah, still don't.
I tried to like read more about it and like kind of make a decision about it. So I was looking on like, is this something that could like really happen? Because they're talking about like the whole theme of like random chance, like is random chance really chance? Yeah. And I was like looking up, is this something that could really happen? There have been cases about like land, like not like flightless like animals being caught in water spouts and then being deposited and rained out, but nothing like specifically a ginormous rain of frogs that seemingly begins to start and then stop in only frogs. So that's just like that whole theory of it is so it's impossible. It's implausible to the point where it like literally does not fly.
That took me out a bit,
yeah. So if you
like the ultimate like,
that's why
the chance of this.
The only reason it kind of works for me is because they show you at first in Jim's perspective, and he's the most religious of all of them.
So I dug a little deeper into this, and Exodus 8:2 is the rain of frogs in the Bible.
Yes.
And literally like 15-20 times throughout the movie, 8:2 is shown.
Oh, jeez. I knew Jim was super religious, but I didn't see that.
Yep. This movie was very calculated. We said, this is a decision I'm going to make, and I'm going to make this choice, but I'm not just going to shoehorn it in there. I'm going to put these things in there. And like, if you ever watch this movie again, I'm sure like you'll see it everywhere. Like one of the things was like the lady holding a mugshot. One thing was like a score on the game show, which is there's like I guess like 15-20 like instances of 8:2 or 8:2 repeating. So he did tactically weave this in so he could basically put an impossible thing in his movie.
Yeah, I like it.
So
I like it.
It depends how you feel about that, but it's not. It's a choice. Like it's not something that was incompetently done. It's a choice that was made. I'm still not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure if I like it because, like, I mean,
it really took me out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that, but if I look past that, this is where I kind of have a gripe with this movie. I think this movie, like I said, this movie has like the best individual like characters on an individual basis. Mm-hmm. But I think this has one of like the weakest crashes I've ever seen in one of these movies.
Yeah.
I just felt like nobody had like that like profound of a payoff. And like even like the characters that did, like Tom Cruise's character, like it's just they walk away from it all. Like I felt like there was like some to be desired.
Yeah. I hear where you're coming from, but the way they frame the whole movie is about it's very about random chance and people acting like people, and I think a lot of the ways they resolve things are how people would actually respond to things, and I kind of appreciate that, even though as for a storytelling standpoint, maybe it's not the best.
I just felt like it didn't have a payoff for a lot of these characters, and I think a lot of these characters kind of just walk away from like having just like a moment of clarity, and I said, if that works for you, like that's great, but like I kind of wanted a bigger like something that was gonna, you know, leave like a more like that was gonna like leave me like a little bit wowed or like a bigger like effect for a movie like this, because that's like the beauty of these movies that I really like is like they find these ways to like have these like these things that aren't related that find a way to cross and then find a way to collide at the end.
Yeah, I think if they could have done that, tied everything together in a nicer way, that might this might have been a 10 for me.
This movie was headed before this territory in my like S tier category.
Yeah, like it was building very well.
For me, it's more just with, like you say, it's just more about random chance. Where like I didn't need this ginormous payoff. It was just how everything led into each other. Like I didn't need this just like a big like essentially just like come to Jesus moment with like the plot where like everyone needs to have their like stories tied off in a neat little bow. It's just this is how life conspired so everything just crashed into each other.
Yeah, I feel that because there are some movies of this similar nature that do kind of like toe that same line where there's not like this big profound crash and some people do just like walk away, obviously like way less profound than others, and like they don't have this like neat bow on it. But I still think there's like some to be desired with this ending, and I think even movies that are doing like what you're saying, like there's some like I can think of that come to mind that just like do a better job of that. Even if like, but the front end of this movie is like the strongest I've ever seen of a movie like this, I think.
Yeah, I think the middle of the movie was the best for me.
Yeah, like it's hard for me to like go back and be like, well, if I didn't like the ending, like where I would put it at a rating. That's why, but like I can't discount like how much I love the first like 3 hours of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of how you feel about that, and like this had a setup where like you could have really like done something I think could have left more of an impact. Because like I think like the frog thing, like I mean it does fall at the random chance, so like I can't really criticize it. But I thought like the frog thing with like Jimmy Gator's character like saving him at the last second because he came to terms with it, I thought that was a little like meh.
Or random chance.
Yeah, or like good. That's what it is. It was random chance, but just like it was kind of like
Yeah,
I think what they could have done, like if they just let like what would have been cool is like you had Jim Curring like turning around to help Donnie like Smith's character. Like, and then you have what's her name, Claudia, like driving around, like speeding, zooted out of her fucking mind. I think you could have had some, and you had the ambulance like flying around.
See,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, for me, it's like that's what you expect out of like the movie. It's like, oh, this is what should happen, and like that's where I mean, like it goes back to like it's just supposed to be like life, like really. Like X out the frogs, just like this life just happening, and like you really don't in life. You get these just amazing resolutions. It's just happening.
I think you could have done the same thing though, and like given you didn't have to kill anyone. I would have preferred that to happen, but you didn't have to kill anyone. You could have still had everyone like come to a revelation. Like how cool would it have been if like by random chance like Donnie Swift got struck by lightning.
Well, see, that's where that's what I like. The fact that there wasn't
this giant revelation. That's actually why I prefer this. Why I like the ending of this so much is because.
But if you say that though, like, isn't the random chance revelation the frogs in the first place?
The frogs for me is like really honestly the only part. Like, I don't think that was necessary. Literally, like the way I look at it. Besides that, like I greatly prefer the fact that like there really isn't a big red.
Yeah, the frog thing. I want to go back to. I've been seeing a lot more movies lately with a lot of more surreal stuff in it, like stuff that clearly has nothing. Like it would not happen in reality, but it still like builds to the story. And it kind of makes me like stop and think about what I'm watching. I think, and so I think that kind of has an effect on the way I viewed this movie, especially because it was such a long movie. And that comes towards the end. It made me stop and think about exactly what I was watching and like what they were trying to like show and talk about. And I like that too. I don't know if it really has any good effect on the movie. I think, like Ryan just said, it kind of seems unnecessary almost, but it did give me a moment to pause and think about it a little more.
Yeah. So I don't mind when stuff happens in movies that like just cannot happen, but like. In a movie like this, where we're gonna play it straight for 3 hours, everything is grounded in reality, all that good stuff. Like to go somewhere where it couldn't happen.
Yeah,
I think is like it kind of takes me out of it. It's like if you're gonna play like some type of like fantastical or like sci-fi line or just like take some comedy liberties, like that's fine, but you have to like make your movie like tonally like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna present like an impossible premise, like we're going in on this impossible premise, but we're gonna play it straight. So like that's like when I'm like completely fine with like suspending my disbelief. Like the first thing that comes to mind is like that movie Scanners I mentioned last week. It's like, okay, we're dealing with these characters that can like scan, like read people's minds, and like there's evil version, they fucking blow up each other's heads and shit. So like obviously like it's not something that can happen, but if you're gonna take me to like this like whimsical world where these people do exist, like I can suspend my disbelief for that. That doesn't mean you can go do stupid shit in the movie, but you can't have more liberties. If that makes any sense.
It does. I think so.
Yeah, it's all about tone.
It is. Yeah, it definitely. I can't deny that it was very jarring when I saw it. I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?" Okay.
Yeah, I can see this movie being like so divisive, like because of that ending.
Yeah.
So. Just like which are down the list of everybody's conclusion with the Reign of Frogs. So Jim Curring finds his purpose by helping Donnie Smith, who fell from put the money back so he doesn't have to ruin his life. He was
smacked in the face by a frog.
Yeah, he helped him. He helped him find his way back. Yep. He helped him find his way back, and Donnie like. Had this revelation where he could be accepted and someone showed him an act of kindness and now they can both move on with their lives happy.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that throughout the movie Jim is tested by people, like testing his patience, especially when he's from a position of authority, and now he's finally in a position where he's witnessing someone commit a crime and he still finds the time to forgive him and like help him. Which is really what he should be doing. Yeah.
It's a really smart move making him a cop too, where like he has that little speech where he's like, sometimes people need help, sometimes people need to go to jail, and I have to play each situation as it lies.
Yeah, when he ends it and he says sometimes people need to go to jail.
Yeah. And he played it as his lies and he felt that Donnie needed help. Donnie didn't need to go to jail.
Yeah.
As they kind of wrap up, I guess that moves into Claudia. So I know, like, we hear Jim talking to Claudia the next day, but, like, what really happened with her, like, during the Reign of Frogs? I don't
think she really had much to do with that.
Yeah, she kind of just
It had more to do with her mom and dad and Jim.
Yeah. And, well, prior to the Reign of Frogs, we had, like, her mom and dad, Rose and Jimmy. Finally have this conversation, this revelation where Jimmy admits, or Rose asks why won't Claudia talk to you. You know why, and he still can't even take responsibility. Where he says, "I think she may have touched her," and he can't deny he is. Like he knows it's an admission. And
he won't say no. He's like, I can't say.
Yeah,
it's an admission like through omission.
Which is yes. Like it's like you'd say no if it was no.
Right.
Like
that's why, that was the moment where I thought it was that they weakened his character by giving him cancer instead of something like that affect his memory.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that could have been.
Like that would have been more profound, but
yeah,
at the same time, it would have weakened his wife's character.
Yeah,
just like immediately
like
giving up on him. Yeah.
Overall, I don't really
could have gone either way. Really, character. He wasn't the most important.
Yeah. So his resolution, I should say, is he grabs his gun. He's gonna die anyway. He has to face the guilt of touching his daughter. So he's gonna put one in his head, and a frog falls through the house and deflects the shot, and he gets to live.
Yeah.
He has this moment of clarity, and we presume he doesn't get up and try again. Well, he gets knocked out by the frog, so I guess he doesn't get to try again.
That's stupid.
No,
getting knocked out.
Yeah. Well, it's not maybe knocks. It's just like maybe it just grazes his head still, but like they clearly show you it didn't hit him by blowing up in TV.
Yeah. I think it would have been better if like he heard the sound of the frogs doing whatever outside and turned around to the window.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that could have been.
Like instead of like it hitting the gun, like such a random thing. It, like even just hearing the sound of frogs falling outside is like, what the fuck is going on? And that's a random event.
I think they really want to go hard in the random chance.
Totally.
So, yeah. So that's how he wraps up, and then we kind of got TJ Mackey and Phil together, where TJ Mackey has this moment with his father, where for the most part of it, he's like screaming at him, calling him a cocksucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his father.
It's funny because earlier in the movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman was like, "You only say these 3 like curse words, basically."
Yeah,
I think like cocksucker was one of them.
Yeah,
cocksucker.
Yeah. But during this time, though, Philip Seymour Hoffman already gave him this liquid morphine you put in the tongue, which basically takes him out and just lets him go.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a shallow barrier where like so Tom Cruise's character say whatever he wants, he can like has his catharsis moment, and Earl's character can't really understand or even get to have his because he's so out of it, which I think almost is like a thing for Tom Cruise's character where his father has to like kind of go out with that memory of him abandoning him. He doesn't really get to like have this moment with him. But I'm not sure how inaudible like he's supposed to be, like with the morphine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
I really liked the fact that Earl was basically dead by the time that Tom Cruise's character was talking to him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's almost like this dual catharsis where the father that just like admits on his deathbed like what a piece of shit he was, like doesn't get to have this moment of like really like coherently seeing his son, but his son gets to have this moment of telling him what a piece of shit he is and watching him die.
But at the same time, like Earl probably didn't process any of that. Like,
yeah, that's the genius part of it. That's exactly what I mean.
Exactly. Like, like Tom Cruise like held on to that for years and years to the extent of building this new persona, and then like when he finally decided to come to it because someone basically dragged him into it, he doesn't even get the catharsis that he thought he was being there for. So, that was very well done.
Yeah. So he gets his wrap up, and we kind of talked about Philip Seymour Hoffman's earlier, where he has the love to give. He spent this time with this guy, made the end of his life as painless as it could be. Got his kid there, bought his kid his own form of peace. So he really did his job. He was just a love to give character. Then lastly, we have Stanley, who after his meltdown at the game show, he reclused into a library to like. I didn't really like his arc, like how he just like go into a library. I like that, but I like it was just like weird to me that I didn't think he really went anywhere.
Stanley's gonna have ADHD for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I just like I didn't think he really like had like the strongest like ending too. That's the thing. Is like his character is super strong, but like there's not like they don't all really have a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
But like, it is uneven, but not everyone can have like that, big bang.
Yeah. I don't know if this really carries over into movies, but a big thing in music when composing music is like having an unresolved ending.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
An ending to a measure. And it really works in music, but like when you're that invested in a movie, it involves so much more than just the sound to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like they put so much effort into it. I feel like sometimes like unsatisfying endings can work, but sometimes it just like really hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is one of those moments where it kind of hurt for some of those characters.
I think unresolved endings are fine. So like a lot of the time, but I just don't think like this movie like went the direction to have an unresolved ending.
Yeah, too much going on
Yeah.
for that to happen.
Yeah, this wasn't the movie for that.
Yeah.
Like a good example of something I fucking love, like Uncut Gems. Like it's got like a realistic kind of like
yeah. That's
just
a good
like
point.
down ending. Like I guess like I've heard a lot of people that aren't like really into movies like yeah, the movie's great except the ending's fucking awful. It's like that's the point, dude. Like that's life.
Exactly. Oh yeah. That ending really caught me off guard, but it is like the right ending.
Yeah, it's like it's just this movie wasn't the movie to like have kind of like the ending like that.
Yeah.
So I think that about wraps all the characters because Linda doesn't really get when she's like destroyed in the whatchamacallit, the ambulance. And we know what she
the ICU or whatever. Like, you don't even know if she's going to be coherent after that.
Yeah. That's why I would have liked it better if they just like killed her or like she survives by a random chance and then she gets laid out in the ambulance like
struck by lightning.
And that causes like Jim to like go in somewhere and then like causes fucking her to slam on the brakes and hit that and like kill her after she had a chance there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was like she just kind of just lays there like unresolved, but they could have done more with her.
Yeah.
I think that about covers everyone. We got final thoughts on anything?
Yeah.
Cover it in our ratings if anyone has any.
I feel like there were a few more meta moments we didn't mention, but I can't think of them.
This is the first time I've seen this movie. It's so hard to just like not having a predisposed idea of what's going to happen to like catch some stuff.
Yeah. The one I mentioned it before, but I did really like the one where it zoomed in on the painting and it said it really did happen.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Now I know what you're
because they left it a little ambiguous. Like for me, it felt like that definitely did happen.
Yeah,
he didn't say no, like you said, so that means like yes, it did happen. But just to clear it up, and because there were other meta moments before that, they zoom in there and it worked for me.
Yeah. So, there's probably a lot more I catch if I watch this again.
Right.
Who wants to kick off the ratings for us?
I'll give it a shot.
All right, where are you going with this?
Damn it! This movie was really good. Runtime aside, like it didn't feel like 3 hours. I do like the way everything is entangled. Everything kind of like it does have like that payoff at the end. The crash was kind of weak, but I mean, if you kind of take yourself out of reality and like put yourself in like another world, and like when those frogs start raining down, you're like, exactly right, and it takes you out a little bit, but then you're just kind of like, fuck it. I'm gonna come in high on this one, and I'm gonna give it a 9.2.
A what?
What 0.2?
9.2. 9.2.
Okay.
This movie was really, really good. Like performances, like the score. The score was really did it for me. Like the music in this movie, like really kept me into like the scenes and everything, and like it accentuated every different type of emotion too, which was really nice. And when the way when music does that, like whether it's in a movie or like whatever, that really speaks to me, and I really like that for that. So yeah, super high on that.
Nice.
All right, then.
Nice.
I'll go next.
All right.
All right. So this movie was the hardest movie to rate for me of all the movies we've done so far.
I'm literally still debating.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a very rough idea going into this, and I was heavily focused on like listening to what you guys had to say about it before I came to a final decision. But I really liked it. Tyler, you talk about movies like this a lot, where like a lot of things like happen individually and come to a crash, like we mentioned before. It is really cool. I don't think I've seen enough of these movies like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
if you like this, I would really recommend Traffic. Traffic is like,
you said that before, and I keep like passing by. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
But, so I went back to Spiral, which is the movie I've rated the highest so far, and the movie that I think overall we've rated the highest so far.
Yep.
And whereas I don't think that movie makes as much, in my mind, mistakes as this movie does, but I think this movie is it's more unique. There's a lot more going on, so I liked it a lot more. The fact that some of the endings were unresolved is what really did it for me. The frogs, the kind of jarring scenes that happen very seldomly but still happen, are what held it back for me. So I give it an 8.3, which I give that a better score than Spiral. I think it kind of fell flat in a few more spots for me, but the fact that it told such a better story and had so much more to juggle is what makes it a better movie for me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
8.3.
All right. So I'll run in there. Okay, so really, the only like big gripe I say about this movie is kind of just ways to resolve. It's not even like as much the frogs. It's just like I didn't feel like the ending had the impact I was looking for. But I can't discount like how well made this movie. The sum of all parts of this movie, like the performance of this movie, and how much I enjoyed like the first 95% of it. Just because I feel like medium about the way it ended. If I kept the same pace and energy that I was feeling as the first like 95% of it, I think I was heading in like a 9.5 plus rating on this movie. And then it could have gone a little like lower than I think I'm going to based on those things, but I think I'm going to come somewhere in the middle of where I was thinking with all things considered, and I'm going to come in at an 8.9 on it.
All right.
Ryan.
I really, the only, not even fault, because there's not a singular thing in this movie that I dislike. I think all of it's pretty much wonderful. It's really like the frogs to me is more just like an interesting directional choice. Like, it's not like my favorite way they could have done it. I think that's the only thing in the movie, like, for me, that could have been like done better and like made things flow better. Because I'm just a big fan of the way like they really all like everything doesn't really have a great resolve, where it's just this is life, and also the way it just explores like themes throughout the whole movie. With all that being said, I'm giving it a 9.7.
Hall of Fame.
Yes, we did it.
It's a 36.1.
Yep, I was like 9.6 is Hall of Fame.
Yep, me too. I was waiting on it.
Yep.
I do want to mention, I harped a little bit on the unresolved stuff. I did really like it. It was just like a couple of the characters I felt like were really weak.
It was just like the overall. It was the overall ending for me. Like it wasn't just anything individually, but I just felt like the sum of like the movie before that, and like it's just not even like some of the endings weren't resolved. It was just like soft to me. Like
exactly.
I was waiting for
the fact that some of them were unresolved. I did love.
I'm pretty soft right now.
Some of them were unresolved. I didn't so much.
Yeah. All right. So,
boy,
how are you gonna follow that one?
Okay, this is totally off the mark from what I've picked before.
Oh baby.
And I know I've mentioned this to you guys at some point, and I know I know Ryan's gonna like it. I think Tyler's gonna like it too. So this one is a great pick for an underrated or underperforming movie. This is, where's the year? 2009. I'm not gonna say the director's name because I can't pronounce it. It's 2009's Mr. Nobody.
Ooh,
starring Jared Leto.
All right.
This is a wild, like, fantasy drama, psychological, impossible to explain movie.
So there's two different cuts of this movie. If possible, we should try to watch the director's cut because it adds a little bit extra flavor that I like a lot.
I like some flavor.
We should just agree on a cut. Yeah, let's just say director's cut.
Director's cut. Yeah, this is one we talked about, like our top 4 movies that kind of explain our taste in movies, but are also underrated. This is one I mentioned. This is one I've been sitting on for a while. I didn't quite know when to pick it because it's a wild one, and it's been a while since I've seen it. But I remember just watching it on a whim and just like being blown away by it, by just like what it was saying. And then I remember Ryan having it in his collection, and I was like, oh shit, Mr. Nobody. So like it's been something I've been sitting on. But it is 2.5 hours, so
that doesn't bother me.
Long, boy.
Yeah.
Get your hands on the Mr. Nobody director's cut.
Yeah. Oh, this movie did like shit at the box office, dude.
Well, it was made by.
I actually knew this one
was in Europe.
Yeah, it was crowdfunded.
Yeah, I knew this was one of the biggest box office bombs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this has definitely been on my radar for a while.
We're watching 2 hours. We should probably.
This is my favorite Jared Leto movie too.
It's kind of hard to contend with Requiem for a Dream with me.
It's very high.
I need to watch that again. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, that's a tough one to contend with me.
It'll be so bizarre. That's all.
I can't wait to talk about it already.
Yep. Hell yeah!
It's just the director's cut.
All right, so that was a fun episode.
Oh yeah, you can rent the director's cut.
Good. All right. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
See you next week for Somebody Nobody.